I'm just so frustrated by the use of progressive language to like bully someone. That's what this is. And I have a lot of experience with it. You know, I've experienced it myself. I've seen it happen all the time. I make videos about this exact kind of thing. I'm a huge fan of Heartstopper. I'm a huge fan of Nick Nelson. And I think Kit Connor and all of the actors from Heartstopper did a really amazing job. I'm very passionate about this one. So I'm going to try to be calm. I wrote some notes. I'm going to just try to explain what happened and not get too upset. So on Halloween, of all days, this happened on Gay Christmas. Kit Connor tweeted this: "Back for a minute, I'm bi. Congrats for forcing an 18-year-old to out himself. I think some of you missed the point of the show. Bye." So let's rewind and provide some context. This is on its own is just like very upsetting and very like sad, but let's look at the context. What happened? So Kit Connor is an 18-year-old actor who played Nick Nelson in Heartstopper. His co-star is Joe Locke, who plays Charlie, and Charlie and Nick Nelson are the main characters of this wonderful Netflix TV show that fall in love. It is a very queer story. It is a very cute story, and it is just an immensely popular and successful show. I myself am a fan of this show. A lot of queer people are a fan of this show. It just exploded in numbers, and it has already been slated for 2 new seasons. This show is really well liked and has a very strong fan base. What's interesting about the Heartstopper fandom is that because Heartstopper portrays a high school, a lot of the fans are high schoolers and all of the actors are high school age. They are between the ages of 16 and 19, and their fans are also within that age range, and they're all on the internet. So the fans have a pretty close connection to the actors. They're all very active online. They all do a lot of interviews, a lot of press. There's one actor who even has a vlog for the show. These actors are Gen Z connecting with Gen Z fans of their very Gen Z show. And it's really sweet. I think that it's really, really nice to watch that happen. I'm not really in the Heartstopper fandom. I'm a fan of the show, but as like an adult, I don't really relate so much to the fandom culture in the way that it is, but I definitely know how it is because I was a YouTuber fan when I was that age, and so I definitely understand the weird boundaries and parasocial lines that are created, and so I kind of understand why it's been difficult for Kit Connor to navigate this environment. And also Kit Connor, throughout this rise to fame, he's been pretty vocal about being private, about his identity.
I mean, for me, I just feel like I'm perfectly, confident and comfortable in my sexuality, but I don't feel the need to really, I'm not too big on labels and things like that. I'm not massive about that, and I don't feel like I need to label myself, especially not publicly.
He just wants to be more private about it, which he has every right to do because Kit Connor is not Nick Nelson. Kit Connor is a human being that deserves privacy, and especially around something so personal as your identity. And also he was 17 when Heartstopper came out and like just turned 18. So like it's really, really weird that people would speculate so much about his identity, but it has to do with that, like I said, that parasocial relationship boundary thing. Obviously, I can empathize with people being interested in Kit Connor's identity because he plays a character whose identity is like so important. To his credit, Kit Connor is like no stranger to the limelight or to acting. He's been acting for a long time in some other notable things, but I really think Heartstopper propelled him into a new level of stardom, and all of his co-stars as well. And they've been casted in amazing new roles, most likely because of the success of Heartstopper, and that is awesome. And for the most part, the fandom seems really cool, and it seems like the show has been a really amazing experience for these young actors. And then something happened. So about like in August, a few months ago, Netflix announced this new upcoming movie that's in production called A Cuban Girl's Guide to Tea and Tomorrow. And Kit Connor is casted as the love interest in this movie to the main character, who is a woman played by Maya Rafiko. I remember this announcement because I saw people talking about people accusing Kit Connor of queerbaiting. Like, that's when these like chattering kind of started. But it was a misrepresentation of queerbaiting from the start because, first of all, Kit Connor plays a bisexual character in Heartstopper, so it would be totally normal for a bisexual character to like women, and it would be totally normal for Kit Connor to play a character that likes women. I don't see how that's queerbaiting at all, and I'll talk about and I'll reiterate the definition of queerbaiting in a second, but that's kind of when this chattering started. And then I suppose in the last week or so, Kit Connor and Maya Rafiko have been seen together and have been seen holding hands. So their relationship is not even confirmed. So people start chattering about Kit Connor queerbaiting. Most people I'm seeing are saying that he's not. But then this hashtag is created. Hashtag Kit Connor go away from Heartstopper, which is just a terribly wordy hashtag, and it's terribly mean. Here's some tweets from it. I almost don't want to read them. Trigger warning for like genuine meanness and like awfulness. I'm just gonna read some of the tweets under this hashtag so you can understand what we're up against here. I must say, what a shit job Alice Oseman did putting Kit Connor in the cast. How could you be able to find a perfect actress to represent Elle, but couldn't find a blonde queer actor? It's just so absurd. If you've seen Heartstopper, it is so absurd to suggest ever, for whatever reason, that Kit Connor is a bad casting for Nick Nelson. Like, that is just so strange to me. He did such a good job. Another tweet says, Alice Oseman, please remove Kit Connor from Heartstopper. We don't want to see him anymore. That's just not true. Maya Rafiko and him are screwing up the show. Get him out before people start canceling the show for them. This is just absurd, and it's just kids. Like, I really think that these are also just like middle school or high schoolers, and they're using queerbaiting as kind of a way to justify their hatred for Kit Connor dating a woman. Like, that's it. I really think they're just mad that Kit Connor is not dating Joe Locke. Like, that's really what I think it is. But I will reiterate the definition of queerbaiting just so we're all on the same page. I think at this point, the definition of queerbaiting needs to be in the welcome package for queer people. I think it needs to be in the terms and conditions of the LGBTQIA community. It's so frustrating because it's so simple. Queerbaiting is the act of an entertainment corporation consciously taking advantage of a queer audience without providing any tangible queer representation. Individuals cannot queerbait. They cannot queerbait with their real lives, and individual actors are not fully responsible for characters that are used to queerbait. Queerbaiting is ultimately the action of a corporation, of an entertainment industry that is taking advantage of a queer audience by using their stereotypes and tropes to code characters as queer without canonizing them as queer. So they can have a queer audience and not lose a conservative audience. That's it. And also so they can release their content in countries that have more restrictive censoring laws against LGBT representation, right? It's not the act of an individual actor, and it's not the responsibility of an individual actor, and it's not what Kit Connor was doing at all, by any stretch of the imagination. Nick Nelson was not queerbaiting because Nick Nelson was canonically queer. And Kit Connor was not queerbaiting because he is not a corporation. He is a child. Okay, I know he's 18 years old, but that's a child. Okay, sorry. I just personally feel like 18-year-olds, their brains are still developing. They are very, very new to the adult world. They were in high school. Kit Connor was in high school when Heartstopper came out. He's a child, okay? I'm sorry. Teenagers can't queerbait. I'm sorry. It's the act of a corporation, people. But these other teenagers that created this hashtag they're just bullying Kit Connor, okay? They're using progressive ideology and terminology in order to justify their frustration and hatred for Kit Connor because he's not dating the person they want him to date. Because he's not Nick Nelson. They're mad at Kit Connor because he's not Nick Nelson. And it's just really frustrating because Kit Connor did such a great job as Nick Nelson. Nick Nelson is an amazing character. I love him so much. And I can recognize that Kit Connor is not Nick Nelson. He never will be. He's going to go on and do other things. I hope that he cares about the character Nick Nelson. I think he does. I think that all of the cast cares about Heartstopper a lot. It is evident in their production. They've created amazing product. Honestly, I wrote a 4-hour video essay about Heartstopper when it first came out. I am currently sitting on 8 hours of footage about this show, so I've done a lot of research on the production of this show, and I am a very skeptical person. I am very quick to hold corporations accountable for their bullshit. And I believe that the production of Heartstopper was in good faith. I believe that everybody involved in that show really cared about this story. Let me just show you. So I made this. This is a bulletin board that I made for my Heartstopper video that I have not posted. I kind of burned out on that project, but I still made this. It is just a bulletin board connecting all of these characters to demonstrate how queer community is built. And it was just a visual aid for that video. So I can do this, which, looks pretty insane, but I can still recognize that these characters are not the actors that play them. And I don't have the same expectations for the actors that I do for these characters. I don't expect Kit Connor to date Joe Locke because they're dating in the show, okay? And I'm certainly not going to accuse any of these people of queerbaiting because a lot of the people on this board are openly queer. And the definition of queerbaiting is that there is no openly queer characters. So very frustrating is what I'm saying. Ultimately, in my research, in my hyperfixation on this show, I found that the production of this show is amazing. In fact, I think it is one of the best representations of how queer people can come together and create beautiful queer art for queer people. Everybody involved in the creation of this show genuinely believe in its message, which is young queer people deserve compassion. Young queer people deserve love and joy and community. And so how can you say that you're a fan of Heartstopper and then do this to one of its stars? It sucks. I wish that it had never happened. I feel really bad for Kit Connor. I feel really bad for everyone involved in the show. And I hope that it doesn't taint their experience with this show moving forward. I don't think that it was a lot of people that really believed in this hashtag. And I think that their motivations were very clear, and it's very clear that they were like children believing this and perpetuating this idea, and it didn't catch on. And then when Kit Connor tweeted about this, he got so much love and support, and I just want to reiterate that love and support because it just sucks that this happened. Nobody deserves to be forced out of the closet. Nobody should feel like they need to come out to still some controversy. This is just a really shitty way to come out, and Kit Connor doesn't deserve that because he's done so much good for queer people through his character. So like, it's just really, really sad and frustrating and ironic and biphobic, and I hate it. I hate it so much. And I wish that I could like come up with a solution. Like I wish that I could provide some sort of knowledge or solution so we can avoid something like this moving forward. But parasocial relationships are so complicated, and things like this are bound to happen again and again. I think that young people need to have more media literacy. I think that young people need to be really aware of parasocial relationships, and they need to understand how to navigate those dynamics appropriately. I just really wish that young people were more cognizant of parasocial relationships. I wish that there was like a class about it in school because it's so important, and the internet is such a powerful tool for communication. It's a powerful tool to spread positive messages, but it's also a powerful tool to bully. It's a powerful tool to hurt people. And I think that young people really need to figure it out. They really need to know that the things they do and say on the internet have consequences. The people that they're interacting with on the internet have feelings. They are real people. As a queer community, we really have to stop using progressive language to accuse people of things that they're not doing just because we're angry at them. It's cancel culture, and it's just very mean. Don't do it. It sucks. This whole situation really sucks, and I wish that it hadn't happened. And hopefully moving forward, the more we talk about this, the less it happens. I also think we need to remember as a community that no amount of queer representation is worth outing a single queer person. Every queer person deserves full autonomy over how they are seen by the world, over how the world knows them, and how they want the world to know them. Every queer person. That includes famous people. That includes celebrities. That includes queer people that play queer characters. There is no excuse for pestering someone about their identity, for bothering someone about their identity, for harassing someone about their identity, or for forcing someone to come out, or for bullying people to come out. That is not what the queer community is, because the queer movement is about queer people looking out for each other, queer people protecting each other, queer people protecting each other's autonomy, protecting each other's privacy and safety. That's what we do. I just wish that we could get it. Like, I just wish that the internet could get that and start doing better. Young queer people deserve protection. Young queer people deserve bodily autonomy. Young queer people deserve autonomy over their identities. They deserve to have as much control as possible over how the world sees them and how they want to be seen. It's just really sad how this played out, and it really sucks, and I wish it had played out differently. But that's the story. That's my take as a queer person. I really think we gotta be doing better, y'all. And I really hope that Kit Connor understands that this is a teeny tiny minority within the queer community, and that the rest of the community will welcome him with open arms. The rest of the community is far more understanding and empathetic and compassionate towards queerness. And Kit Connor, you are so young and you have so much time to figure things out, and you didn't deserve to be pushed like this. Subscribe to my channel if you want more videos like this, where I just get things out of my head that are living there rent-free and try to make them pay rent. Go ahead and click that like button if you think bisexuals are allowed to like men and women, and follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Have a good day.